Good morning, everybody, and a happy Wednesday morning to you. I hope everybody is having a fabulous day and a fabulous week so far. As usual, we have a lot to cover, so we're just going to jump in and get busy, okay? Let's go. We're starting off with a poem that was sent to me by one of my subscribers. Here we go. The gingerhead prince, along with his wife, may go to England to salvage their life. Not nice, quiet visit where the public won't know, but a full-blown PR stunt, maybe Netflix in tow. They craved fame and fortune as Hollywood A-listers, but then showed the world that they're no-talent grifters. Fabulous. All right, let's jump into our first story of the day. We're going to start off with Prince William. He attended a major London forum where some of the world's biggest technology firms made public pledges to tackle wildlife trafficking across their platforms. So the Prince of Wales convened the gathering through the Royal Foundation's United for Wildlife initiative, which works to stamp out the illegal trade in wildlife. Tech giants Google, Meta, Amazon, TikTok, Pinterest, eBay, and Etsy were among some of the companies participating in this event. Now, after greeting actors Emma Watson and Benedict Cumberbatch, William actually spoke with the former Vice President Al Gore, Ben Orkney, and a bunch of other big-name people. All those big-name businesses I just told you about are going to collaborate with United for Wildlife to develop methods for eliminating illegal wildlife listings online, and AI is going to play a central role in those efforts. Telecommunications providers are stepping up their commitment at the forum together with Safaricom and some other, groups. They're going to announce plans to deploy AI technology to combat money laundering and look at financial transactions that might be linked to wildlife crime. Cryptocurrency is joining the fight, with major firms pledging to disrupt and trace the money flows that fund illegal wildlife trafficking. And this coordinated approach really reflects the growing recognition that criminal organizations are taking advantage of interconnected digital marketplaces and financial systems with increasing sophistication. So the private sector's involvement signals an understanding that wildlife crime represents an environmental and a commercial crisis. This forum marks the launch of London's Climate Action Week, during which Prince William will also attend the Earthshot Prize Impact Assembly. While we're talking about William, there's a group called Hyper Kids. It's a Ugandan children's dance and acrobatic group dedicated to supporting vulnerable children through performances and education. And they did a video paying tribute to Prince William with a special dance for his 44th birthday. Now, obviously, I can't play the actual music because it would be a copyright, but I'm going to put some other music to it. You guys enjoy. Let's move on to Princess Catherine. There are articles coming out saying she's very deeply shaken up by the hospital data breach where a healthcare worker tried to sell her confidential medical records. And this has left Catherine very wary about future medical treatments and the security of her personal information. Well, I totally get that. We all know what happened. I'm not going to cover it again, but I totally get why she's nervous. I do know that they fired that person. We've talked about it before. But the truth is, this woman should have had her license pulled. She shouldn't be able to just go out, get another job, and access somebody else's records. You know what I mean? Now, when this all happened, the hospital CEO said that everybody at London Clinic was acutely aware of their individual professional, ethical, and legal duties, and there was no place at their hospital for those who breached the trust of any of the patients. And I appreciate the fact that they got rid of this woman, but she's got a license. She could just do it again to somebody else. They need to pull her license. That's just my personal opinion. As a nurse, I'm disgusted by what she did. Let's move on to Eton College and the fact that Prince George is going to go there. They're saying that he's very happy about his acceptance. However, of course, now people are talking. What they're saying is that he got no special treatment when applying. He had to take the tests like everybody else, the entrance exam. And if he didn't pass the test, it wouldn't be like what happened with Harry, where they were scraping for every, point to allow him to go in. But he's very happy that he got in. It's close to Forest Lodge. William and Catherine are happy he got in. And, I just find it amazing that people just can't be happy that this kid took the entrance exam and got in. Instead, they're just insisting that somehow the rules were bent. They were not bent. If he hadn't passed that test and he hadn't got in, they would have sent him somewhere else, and probably nobody even would have known he took the test. You know what I mean? Okay, let's move on. Let's move on now to Princess Anne, the Princess Royal. She apparently showed up as a surprise in Coventry this past weekend at a tag rugby tournament. It's the Mixed Ability Tag Rugby Festival that took place at the Broad Street Rugby Club on June 20th, which was Saturday. And so this club prides itself on providing opportunities for young people with additional needs and adults of all abilities to participate in rugby. The event was sponsored by the Wooden Spoon charity, and it brought together clubs and players from across the country to celebrate inclusion through sport. Hundreds of players had a fabulous day, and they were very excited when the Princess Royal turned up. She apparently spent time talking to players, volunteers, and organizers about the impact inclusive sports has on lives. Moving on, looks like Princess Catherine's going to be a cover girl for Hello Magazine, looking lovely. Move on now to Edward, Prince Edward, the Duke of Edinburgh. He visited Warwick also on the 20th for the Queen's Royal Hussars parade through the town after the regiment was granted the Freedom of Warwick. The town council granted that in recognition of its long-standing history with the town to the regiment. So on Saturday, he went to the town center ahead of the parade. He greeted members of the public and representatives. Then, before the start of the parade, he was joined by dignitaries and other representatives. At some point, he changed clothes into a uniform. Now, the parade took soldiers from Castle Street to High Street and then onto Swan Street. And these soldiers then went from Marketplace to the Market Square, Old Square, and then Church Street. Soldiers, cadets, and veterans saluted the Duke of Edinburgh, who is Colonel-in-Chief of the Queen's Royal Hussars, as they went past before they finished the parade in Castle Street. Edward, while he was there, also visited the Collegiate Church of St. Mary. Lots of crowds, and he looks fabulous in that uniform, let me just say. Now, sticking with Edward, also, the Duke of Edinburgh, as Colonel, attended the Scots Guards Regimental Gathering at Richmond Castle, and a video was put out, and I'm just going to put some music to it. All right, we're going to move on to Andrew. My goodness, his scandals are getting worse following revelations that UK investigators monitored his business ties to financier David Rowland during a serious fraud office inquiry. They basically said that they examined his, quote, grubby relationship with Rowland as intelligence gathered between 2009 and 2011 flagged the movement of funds before the collapse of the Icelandic bank. Now, sticking with Andrew, I know everybody was talking about nobody had seen him. He was laying low. Well, come to find out, he bagged himself a private jet freebie to a luxury French stud farm owned by a Dubai billionaire. He slipped away from Sandringham. Nobody knows how he got out for a 3-day break in rural Brittany as the guest of horse breeding tycoon Mohammed A. Baker. He flew by private jet from Norwich to Dinard Airport. He stayed at Mr. Baker's sprawling stables. He rode horses on the beach. He played bowls. He enjoyed meals prepared by a private chef. And this all came out because, well, let's face it, he's been banned from horseback riding around his current home. And in March, we know some pictures came out of him, longingly looking at the horses on the estate after they banned him from riding. Looks like Andrew flew to France on May 30th. He returned June 1st, and the trip was arranged and paid for by his billionaire host. And then days later, on the 4th, was when the pictures were taken of him with the badly bruised face, sparking speculation that this injury might have occurred during the getaway. So, listen, this guy has these stables. It's a vast breeding operation. They have about 130 thoroughbreds and foals. Apparently, French racehorse trainer Arthur Desprez told the newspaper that Andrew was his guest, so I guess nobody else knew he was there. A farm worker also claimed that the two of them rode horses together and they spent time on a nearby beach accessible directly from the estate. And listen, we know that previously he was dubbed Air Miles Andy, but here's the thing. If somebody else paid for this trip, if the taxpayers didn't pay for it, I don't know what people are expecting from Andrew at this point. If he has a friend that was willing to foot the bill and whisk him away for 3 days, I don't know why anybody's complaining. It didn't cost anybody anything. It didn't cost the royal family anything. And Andrew probably needed to decompress at this point. While we're talking about Andrew, for those who didn't notice it, Princess Eugenie snubbed her father on Father's Day. She went on Instagram and she posted this gushing tribute just for her husband, Jack Brooksbank. And she excluded any mention of her father. And instead, she put up some never before seen photos of Jack and said, he's the best there is and the chief child entertainer and, all the things. But she totally omitted her father. All right, let's move on. We've covered this before, the fact that Meghan's stock, they're talking about how her spread is expiring. But what you guys may not realize is that her baking mixes and flour sprinkles and her teas, those are getting ready to expire also. The problem she's having is the customer demand is nowhere near what it needs to be to absorb the volume of inventory that was produced after her initial launches sold out so quickly. It's one thing to sell a limited run in minutes when there's excitement and curiosity, but it's an entirely different thing to maintain those sales levels month after month once the novelty wears off, and that's what's happened here. So there was a huge amount of confidence early on, and the sellout created a belief that demand would continue to grow at a similar pace, but it didn't work out. And let's not forget that Meghan refuses to release the numbers, so we really don't know how much she sold. It might only have been 1,000, items. With the inheritance gone and all their deals gone and they're in serious trouble, one of the big rumors is that Harry plans on asking his father for help maintaining his lifestyle. They have not received a penny from the British royal family since they stepped back in 2020, and since they need $6 million annually to maintain, and they have no money. Harry's been very honest about the financial strain that comes with maintaining their projects and funding security and supporting their business ventures and all of that. The costs are enormous, and now he wants daddy to help. I don't see it happening. Next up, I'd like to thank Tony Smith on Twitter for finding this. This person wrote, "The nasty, violent, demeaning posts I've seen since Megan posted the picture of the kids are disgusting. It's an unhinged level of abuse of a woman, a daughter, a wife, a mother. And the way that people are attacking the children is beyond disturbing." Yeah, I don't know who put this together, but I have to agree with everything she said. So God forbid somebody say anything about Megan, but look what they're saying about Catherine. It's so disturbing. Unbelievable. All right, moving on. There's British experts are speculating that Harry has a really big motive behind his UK visit, that he's setting a trap for King Charles by bringing his children to the UK along with Meghan. And we know they've been offered royal accommodations, and there are chances that there could be a reunion between everybody, but we really don't know what's going on. And there's some talk that Meghan is actually the mastermind behind Harry's decisions, because we all know how Harry and Meghan operate. The first post is done, a story in the past on Meghan being the mastermind behind the decisions, when in fact experts were of the opinion that Meghan is the true writer of Harry's book, Spare. That's right. They think that she wrote that book. What's being said is that the content was majorly curated with the help of Meghan, and the book is really hers. She's the one who dictates the agenda. But this move by Harry has been called low tactics, and it could backfire badly. People are saying this will not be a reunion. It's more of a trap. It's a challenge. They're saying, try and ignore us while we're here with the kids. If they don't meet up, then they can say, we came to you and we were ignored. The same source, just FYI, says that Harry and Meghan are bringing the children to force the palace's hand, so they have to give him security or else they're endangering the children. All right, really quickly, I just want to touch on this. They're saying that Harry and Meghan's mansion is a laughing stock by all the neighbors because it hasn't been remodeled since it was built in 2003. It's got outdated aesthetics, it's not modern, and they're saying that the reason that the status is what it is because they have to cut unnecessary costs and they really just can't afford to renovate. So anyway, for those of you who haven't seen the inside of the house, I'm going to put to some music. Enjoy. right, moving on. Jamie Lowther Pinkerton was the full-time principal private secretary to William and Harry from 2005 to 2013. He spent a lot of time with the brothers. And when he started this role, William was 22 and Harry was 20. And, I get it. This is before they were both married and, when they were single. Anyway, to make a very long story short, they asked him to comment on the Harry issue, and all he would say is he's very fond of the prince and he really refused to say anything. When asked about the recent rift, his actual response was, "Do you know what? I think I'd better steer clear of that Harry issue. What I would say is that I was and I'm very fond of him. He has huge redeeming features and I'm a perennial optimist. And I loved them both." Well, oh my goodness. Okay, you guys know what I want. Put those comments down, make them good. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, a link to my father's book, which is still up for sale on Amazon, a link to my Amazon wishlist, as well as a physical address. For those of you who have donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.